Hello, boys and girls. We are going to start making some bubble prints in just a minute. I have an example of what I did with my bubble prints after I was done. So when they were dry, I cut them and made them into flowers for a spring picture with Lillian. You don't have to make yours into flowers. You could just make a full page full of bubble prints if you wanted. Let's go over the materials that we need. So you need to have some dish soap. You need to have some water. I have a muffin pan because I want to do multiple colors at once. So this is a good way so that we can spread out the colors on our picture. But if you just want to do like one or two colors, you could have just some little containers, plastic containers. You just need to be able to make the bubbles raise higher than the container. So something low is good because you're going to set the paper on top. And I'll show you an example of that in just a second. I am using food coloring to add my bubbles because it makes a really nice color. If you look at my page that I was doing this example here, this is done with food coloring red. You can also use a liquid paint. You just kind of need to use a little bit more in the container. So that way the color shows up. All right, so you're gonna want some paper. You might wanna do one page, you might wanna do multiple pages. That's up to you, totally, either way. It does not matter, any of that is fine. I am going to start by pouring my bubble, my soap, into all of my containers that I want to use. So I'm going to spread them out. So I'm going to start, let me aim this down so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to spread and do one here, one here, one here. So that way that there's a little bit of space in between so the colors can be separate. If you want them to be all mixed together, that's totally fine too. Either of those things works. So I'm going to start by taking some soap, and I'm going to pour a little bit of soap in the little areas that I want to be. I say a little bit, but you want it to be like a good enough puddle in the bottom of your container. All right, I will add some here, some here. All right, so in my tin, now I have soap in all these little areas. Okay, next I'm going to add my water. So I just want to make the water come up high enough, about like not all the way to the top because I want to have room. So I want it to come close to the top, probably to about here in the container. After that, I'm going to take my food coloring and I'm going to do about 10 at least drops of color. You can always, after you make a couple prints, go back and add more color to it and make more prints. That works fine too. All right, so we're going to use our straw to make the bubbles. Now this part is pretty important. You don't want to drink from a straw. Like we don't want to actually drink this. We're going to blow into the straw. So you want to keep in your mind, I'm blowing into the straw, I'm not going to drink. So that way it makes bubbles. So I'm going to put I mix it a little bit, put my straw in and blow. When you have a good little dome of bubbles like that, you're going to take your paper and just drop it on top and let it sit there for a minute. It will start to soak into the paper. And this is going to be a good test to tell us, do we need a little bit more blue in there? Some of the colors are just lighter and they show up less than other colors. I'm going to tap it a little bit. All right. And then your bubbles print. Super cool. So I'm going to do another one of blue. And I think that that's a good color for me, so I'm going to stick with that. Take my straw in my tin, and I'm going to blow. You might have wanted to do this with chocolate milk or something sometimes. It's just kind of a fun thing to do with the straw, right? All right, I'm going to take my paper and set it on. And let the color soak up in there. Tapping gently, and we'll do another color in just a second. So now I have two areas of blue and I have some red, and where they're overlapping makes it really cool, where they're crossing each other. Okay, in another section, I'm going to take maybe some green. And I'm gonna fill the water up like halfway inside the muffin pan. I already have some soap in there, dish soap. I'm gonna take my green. All right, I did like 10, 11 drops in there with the green because I know that it works good with blue. I'm gonna take my straw, I'm gonna mix it a little bit. Just like that. Now I'm going to, remember, blow, not drink from the straw because we don't want to get any soap in our mouth. And there we go, another dome of bubbles. Take my paper, set it down, and let it rest. The bubbles pop on the page, and that's what makes the really cool color on there. Now I have green. All right, I'm gonna do it again. And like I said, you could fill this whole page. So what I did with this one is I did different paper. So like I had one paper that I made with blue bubbles, one paper I did with red bubbles. What I'm doing on this one is I'm just filling the whole page with different colors because it's really fun to do that too. I'm going to take my straw, put it back in. And you can see that the bubbles are kind of a color. If your bubbles are still looking kind of clear, then you need more color in there, more paint or more food coloring, so that way they really show up on the paper. We're gonna let it sit for a minute while the bubbles pop. And lift it up, and there's some more. And I can just keep doing this. I'm gonna try some yellow. Now I know the yellow has a harder time showing up, so I could make orange. Does anyone remember what two colors make orange? We use red and yellow to make orange. So if I wanted to do one, and I think I'm going to do orange instead of just yellow, because I know with the yellow, we had a really hard time making it show up. Add some there. Add some more here. Now I did like 10 drops of yellow and only like 5 drops of red in this one because red is more overpowering. It's a darker color, so it will take over that yellow really fast. I'm going to fill up the water about halfway inside of my muffin tin. I'm going to mix it a little bit with my straw. I already had soap in there. Soap has to be in there first, then water and color. Doesn't exactly matter the order. And I'm going to take a new page. This one's pretty filled, so I'm going to get a new piece of paper. And remember, we're going to blow into the straw, not suck into the straw, blow. You can see the nice orange color that's coming out when I'm making my bubbles. And then I take my paper and let it rest, and it will start to kind of seep through the page. You'll see it coming in the back of the page, which is good. You want that. And lift it up. Ooh, there's my orange bubbles. Very cool. I have one more space, so maybe let's make purple. So does anyone remember what colors make purple? We have red and we have blue to make purple. So I'm going to put in 5 drops of red, maybe 6. And then I'll do 10 drops of blue. All right. And I'm going to mix it together with my straw. Oh, I forgot to add water. Don't forget your water. We want to have some of that in there. Fill it up halfway. In the tin about. Mix. And blow. If bubbles are not coming out when you're doing this, then you might not have enough soap or enough water. So you just want to add first a little bit more soap and then add a little bit more water. And you should be okay after that. Because I've had a couple times where my bubbles just didn't really form that great, so I just had to add more. And that's fine too. And there's my kind of purple colored bubbles. And when you look really closely on your own page, you're going to see all the really cool different things that happen with those bubbles, which is really awesome. That's when I kind of looked at it and I thought, this kind of looks like flowers. So I cut them out and made them into flowers. But you have to let it dry to do that. I also could see this looking like clouds, or again, just a really cool background. Maybe you could write your name in it. Let's do it again. Okay, so I have my soap. I add drops of food coloring. About 10 is good in general. If you're mixing colors, you could do a few of one color and a few of another color, but 10 is kind of giving us a good color right now. I have my soap in there, liquid dish soap, and water filled about halfway inside the muffin tin. I'm going to use my straw and I'm going to blow into the container, making a good dome of bubbles. Take my paper, set it down, and just let it rest on there, and the color will start to show through a little bit on the other side. That's how I know it's making a print, which is really good. You want that to happen. And then when I lift it up, ooh, I like that. All right, let's do our orange again. So I put my straw in. Remember, if you're just joining us, I said if you see the color on the bubbles, that's great. That means that it's got enough color in there. If you can't make bubbles, you might need to just add a little bit more water or a little bit more soap. Try both of those things. Just kind of finding a good balance. And there you go. And you can always go back and adjust these. That's why keep going. You know, adjust, keep adding more soap, keep adding more colors to your mixture. Good space over here, pressing down. Yes, it is a little bit more on the messy side of a project, but that's fun too sometimes. We always make messes in the art room, don't we? Just like this. And then, like I said, I could take this page and I could make it be a background with my name on it. I could write a message to somebody or maybe a card or a note. I could turn it into a picture, which is also great. Again, a muffin tin works best because that way you can do multiple colors at once. You don't have to have a lot of containers. And the fact that we're using food coloring and soap isn't going to do anything bad to your tin. You just clean it out after. All right, let's do it again for some people who just joined us. So we have soap. I'm going to add it to a space. I like to space mine out a little bit because that way when the bubbles pop into other parts, it won't matter. We're going to do green again. I'm doing 8 of this green, but I'm going to make it a little bit of a lighter green. So I'm going to take some yellow and add it to my green so that way it makes it a little bit lighter. Okay, mix. Oh, add some water. And we're filling the water halfway in our tin. I'm going to mix it with my straw. Flow into my container, and once you have a good dome, I take my paper, choose a good space on my paper, and I let it sit there. The bubbles will start popping and make our print. Just like that. I think I want to fill this page because I want this whole page to be filled, this part of the page, so I'm going to do that one again. If you make a tiny if you use like a little pin, push tack or something, and you make a little dot up here in the straw, it can help with not sucking up too much of the mixture. I did not do that to mine. Okay, and when I lift it up, there we go. I'm going to do one more spot right here. I'm going to add a little bit more green to it. And take my paper, push it down like that, and let it sit. Lift it up. Awesome. I hope you guys had lots of fun making these. They are pretty cool. It's kind of like doing science and art at the same time, which is always a lot of fun. If you have decided to do this and you would like to share a photo of your work that you've created, that is wonderful, and I would love to see it. You can send it to me on Dojo, or you can send it through my email. I will post this video so that you can watch it again and see how to make your bubble prints if you missed a step or if you want to do it a different day and you forgot what all the steps were, I will have it up for you. And then also, if anyone that you know wanted to do it and didn't have a chance to do it at this time, that's okay. Then they can do it later. I hope you guys had lots of fun and enjoyed making your bubble prints. I hope they worked out awesome for you. I miss you all so much. And I did see some of my first graders today in your Zoom meeting and some kindergarten the other day. We're trying the specials to see you all at different times. So we will hopefully see you all soon on Zoom. And I can't wait to make art again with you guys. All right, everybody. Bye. See you later.